Hey there. Welcome to the Simple Podcast. That's right. I'm back. I'm Todd C. Slater. And, for the last few months, I kind of took a step away from my microphone, stopped recording because really there wasn't much to say. I mean, the government took a massive holiday. You know what? They decided to spend all Canada's money without any real authority around the world. And I just, I just couldn't deal with it. And I decided to take a step back because I figured, okay, maybe I'm too harsh on this new government. I mean, as you know, as my supporters, I didn't agree with the election. I haven't agreed with, the governing party for the last decade. They talk about things that, they talk through their hat. They spend Canadian dollars, the taxpayers, families, everything else. They decided that, hey, let's leave a free for all. Everything that's going wrong in Canada is based on the existing governing party. So by taking a step back, I just decided that I want to just kind of be an observer for a little while instead of always having a narrative on it. But, without really letting us down much more, Mark Carney did what we all expected him to do. Now, that's for some of us that expected him to do absolutely nothing, go spend our money. And by the way, I'm just kind of curious, why does a new prime minister need to take the summer off? I mean, really, the politicians hadn't really worked for about 8 months and then, turn around and said, hey, by the way, we need the summer off. To do what? It just seemed like everybody kind of dove, underground, and you didn't hear really anything other than Canada is going to be supporting and giving billions of dollars around the world to people that don't deserve Canadian taxpayer dollars. And let's leave Canada just to, kind of fall apart. And that's really the biggest thing and why I decided, what? After listening to what this government plans to do, I mean, gee, they finally showed back up to work last week, and have they done anything? No, it's the same garbage. If you ever watch, a lot of the political narrative, people going back and flapping, it's an absolute joke. And this is why I struggle so much with the Canadian politicians today. But talking about Carney, so what has Carney truly done about solving Canada's housing problem? Now, there's so much we can discuss about this because we can talk about, the Bank of Canada. We can talk about so many other issues. We can talk about immigration. There's some price drops in some major markets. But the truth is what does he come up with solutions? Well, the one thing we know about Mark Carney is that he's a claimed economist, but has no idea how to calculate numbers. So the announcement that Carney government launches a Build Canada Homes and decides to throw $13 billion initial investment, well, is that really where the money's going? I mean, what company could it be potentially? I don't know, Brookfield, where Carney is still a shareholder and can benefit from these kind of things? I mean, as we start to take a look at things, we see more and more about who this guy truly is and whose pockets he's lining. He's not actually taking care of Canadians, and he's not really taking care of Canadian businesses unless he's got some ownership. But let's see what he has to say about his new solution and housing.
We really got to get supply up. And how are we going to kickstart supply? The government agency focuses at Build Canada Homes is what is going to be called. It focuses on doing the following. For deeply affordable housing. So we got a homelessness problem in this province, and we have an affordable housing problem in this province. So what are we going to do about it? Well, basically, government's going to build some of those homes, but we're going to build it in a way that helps kickstart an entire industry of a much more efficient way of building homes. Modular, prefabricated home, multi-unit housing as well. And we'll do it so that we're using Canadian steel, Canadian lumber, Canadian technology, obviously Canadian skilled trades.
Wow. Gee, thanks, Mr. Prime Minister, that you're actually going to use supplies that come from our country. But, if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of things that you still have to bring into from the U.S. And, oh, by the way, you screwed that relationship. My problem is that he said, we're going to name it this way. Well, one of the things that we found about the existing government is that when somebody says we're going to, they never do. So in other words, let's hype up everything. When we talk about building affordable homes, did you notice his narrative still sticks around? It's not about home ownership. And this is where part of the problem is. Now, he talks about homelessness, but he's the same guy that has to fly like a jet only like 100 kilometers because he won't drive. My problem is the fact that all that I hear from him is basically what Charlie Brown cartoons have the teacher going, wall, 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 absolutely nothing. Okay. And this is one of the, benchmarks about this prime minister is he doesn't actually give an answer. He'll give words, but not a true solution and answer. Some of his staff now, our new housing minister in Canada, Gregor Robertson. I mean, this guy, former mayor of Vancouver, you got to be kidding me. Let's hear, I mean, he must take a page out of Mark Carney's, vernacular, because listen to what he had to say in the House.
Well, the number one cost for Canadians is their housing, and we have taken action to make housing more affordable. Yesterday, the Prime Minister and I announced the launch of Build Canada Homes, which will be a one-stop shop for making housing more affordable across Canada. And we're launching that on 6 pieces of Canada lands, 4,000 homes that we will start building immediately. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Robertson. You have solved the housing problem. 4,000 homes? I mean, give me a break. This is so asinine that we as Canadians have these people leading our country. It's becoming embarrassing. It's almost, if you go abroad anywhere in the world, you know what? You almost don't want to say it. I mean, I know that my listeners, the people that have followed me, that I've got a great relationship with the United States, love Americans, love Canadians, proud Canadian, you know what? But I'll tell you, it's really hard to be proud when we've got these kind of people leading our country, and especially in a housing situation that we've got today. So they continue to keep doing these photo ops, making it seem like they're doing something. Well, this is kind of funny because this little modular piece of, work here that Mr. Carney's walking up the stairs with. And by the way, if it truly was an active construction site, where's his hard hat? Oh, that's right. They can't find one big enough to put on his head. But here's the thing. This thing was put together literally in days for a photo op. In fact, the building company itself basically said, we're going to ship it in. This is where the land started a couple days beforehand. And they said, oh, by the way, the prime minister's coming in for a photo op. And then this is what it looked like in a couple days because they leveled it off, dropped the actual housing unit there. And guess what? It's not there anymore. So you know what? We've got BS photo ops with a prime minister that's making, absolute garbage commitments to Canadians. This is part of our problem. Now, the one thing is, in the early days during the election and when he got elected, there was a commitment made of 500,000 homes. So this comes back to March. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at proof in the pudding. What year exactly, or how many years did he think that was going to be done? Because right now, as far as we have in Canada, total this year, we've only got 156,000. That's a far cry from 500,000, but I'm using Christopher Freeland math, and I'm going to tell you, it looks like it's about the same. Don't you agree? I mean, this is the problem with Canadian politicians and nobody on the ground doing what they promise. And for me, you know what? One of the reasons why I stepped back for a little while was I figured, okay, maybe I'm just too close to the issue here. Being in and believing in Canadians and home ownership and everything else, I thought, okay, Todd, maybe you're just getting too much one-sided. That I believed every Canadian should own a home. Maybe that every Canadian's taxpayer dollars should have a good effect on Canadian taxpayers. Not this, okay? Not with this government. Again, BS promises, BS results. You know what? We're in for a ride. The one thing I will do is I'll try to stay up to date with you on everything that's happening when we talk about the housing industry. At this point, the political rhetoric is ridiculous. Here's what I would say. As Canadians, and I always like to leave it this way, we need to take care of ourselves, the tax-paying Canadians, the Canadians that have family values, the things that are important to us, the next generation. This is so important. Again, I'm really excited about being back, having conversations with everybody, really keeping my eye open about what was really happening in the housing market. I'm Todd C. Slater. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.